The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 6th day of August, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Wells Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. He is Larry Marshall Jr. And both of us supported St. George's over 2 days and probably are happy to be back here and that cup match is over. How you feeling, Larry?
I'm good. I thought you was going to bring up, I was on vacation. I'm feeling refreshed, and you want to jump.
No, y'all got to be in pain with me, bro. They need to know you're in pain with me.
Okay, yeah. So as you can see, I have on gray. Jamal has on black. I think those colors are symbolic.
Yeah.
What a holiday.
Yeah. You know what? I think you're right there. Let's speak about the positives. Larry, you were traveling across the United States. I mean, folks, this is my boy, this is my brother. We know each other. Two things I know about Larry. Two things. Do not bring a dog around him, and he don't drive in the US. I want to give you props, bro, because you were driving across the US, and I was like, hold on, you're driving? He goes, yeah. This bro...
sometimes circumstances where you just gotta do, and family made you. And then I actually was staying with one of my friends, Jamal, and he had a dog.
Hey,
and the dog was up on the couch all next to me, and I was just relaxing. Those are the type of dogs I like, though.
I'm proud of you, bro. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the brother, but I'm even more impressed that you were driving because I don't mean to put you out there, but bro, you didn't trust American roads to drive not too long ago.
Yeah, it to me, it was always confusing, and then the pressure of being on the opposite side and the speed. It was just a lot going on. But I had somebody just helped me, guide me through, my wife.
You better recognize that, boy.
She's been working on me for the last 7 years, and once you get the confidence, you can go.
Folks, you don't understand how impressive this is. But hey, look, when you grow up, you have a family. Hey,
got to do what's got to be done.
Yeah. Nah, but hey, man, I hope you had a good vacation, some time off. Haven't seen you in a while. And no, seriously, people ask that cup match. That's like, where's Larry? Where's Sancha? Where's Sherry? I speak usually bad about Sherry and Sancha, but I ain't gonna talk bad about you, bro.
Okay, my boy.
Not while you're here, anyway. But look, greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Kamau Leverock on to discuss his spectacular 2024 performance. Don't matter. It don't matter if you're a St. George's fan. You got to give props where it's due. I loved every bit of it. I remember Kamau at police games when police had the cricket team. His father, Dave Greenidge, and Uncle Dwayne Sluggo Leverock playing, and this guy would carry a bat and a ball and just go up to a stranger with a dang ball and like, yo, bowl me, player. And to see him now, I think Kamau's late 20s, his late 20s probably, putting on a performance like that was just wow, and what I was tracking, and not many people knew, I was saying in my camp, I said, these guys are going to break that record, right? The opening record, which was set by Chris Douglas and Terran Frey, and so said, so done. The next thing was I was speaking to Gennaro Tucker up in the club, and he said, "Oh, Kamau's going to break this record." He said, it's a batting pitch. He looks very I mean, the way he was, it seemed like he was letting the ball hit his bat and just making runs. I'm like, why this looks harder for St. George's? But anyway, once they went in, but I again, as a St. George's fan, you just want to see good cricket, right? And the performance deserves all the plaudits that has gotten. If I'm not mistaken, Jason, it was either Jason or Steven, but one of them said during Cup match selection night that Kamau hasn't really done it with the bat, and I expected him to do it with the bat this year. And again, so said, so done.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the conversation with him. The daily play going to be a remember win. So I think Larry may get it, but if he doesn't, folks, somebody's going to be eligible. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. I'm going to let you know early that this is a very emotional show for me, and we will not be doing your traditional news break. We'll bring Kamau in early, but before we get to that, I think the appropriate questions for this morning, Larry, if you agree, is just asking the audience, what are your thoughts on St. George's Cup Match 2024 performance? What are your thoughts, whether you're a St. George's fan or not? And again, props to Somerset. They've dominated for over 10 years, nearly 12 years at this point. And I think you can't take anything away from Somerset. I mean, they were just good. They showed up, and I think it was Bill Belichick we used to say, "Do your job." They did their job. But what would you change on St. George's? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on St. George's Cup match performance? And then what would you change at St. George's to improve their Cup match showing? Like what would you change? And Larry, obviously you come from a background where you've worked with cricket teams, and you may see something that we don't. But what would you change? What are your thoughts on it, and what would you change?
So to the initial question, what were my thoughts on St. George's showing? I was disappointed, but not surprised. And not disappointed because they didn't win. I think in sports, for a good bit of times, you're going to lose. You're going to have your wins and losses. But at times, it's how you win and how you lose that's equally important. And I think that becomes the issue with when we look at St. George's is, okay, you're losing, but you're not responding after the losses. The same things happening over and over and over again. And you say that, and certain people get defensive, and he don't know nothing about cricket, or fans. The only fans 2 days of the year they don't watch league cricket. You hear all these different things, but the reality is you are suffering heavy defeats more times than not. It was a picture going around, or a meme, and it showed the defeats since 2012, or the results since 2012. And many were heavy defeats. I want to say 7 of the 12 years were very heavy defeats. And we also had, I want to say 2 years, if we're being real, St. George's was saved by rain. So something has got to give. And I wasn't surprised, though, because when I was a part of the pre-cup match interviews, and I went down to St. George's Cricket Club and interviewed the president and coaches, even player Dowry, and it was full of emotion. And I'm always cautious when I hear people speak purely emotional, because I question if the preparation has done. I said to myself, what is different? The difference was they had league success, which it should have been brought a level of confidence, but it's still a lot of players that they were leaning on still hadn't proved it in cup match. And I wondered, how have they prepared themselves for the longer format? And it didn't work out.
Yeah. So you said a lot of things, and I want to touch on a couple, but before I even do that, my message to the players is, if you have a problem with criticism, don't play cup match.
Yeah, comes with the territory.
You know, the ridiculousness. I don't know any of these guys personally, right? But the ridiculousness is if you can, if someone, I get criticized every day for doing this show because it's what my mouth does. And I'm okay with it. But I don't dismiss criticism despite what people think. I consider what's being said and how it can help me become better at doing this. I'm being dead serious when I say this, and you all may joke and laugh. Larry said to me one day, yo, man, he wasn't on the show, but he's like, yo, watch your language. Your godson's watching. That's real to me. Because you can't be here preaching and talking about, setting an example and us being better people and improving our community. And you're using language that children may repeat and obviously get in trouble in spaces that they're in. So I took that serious regardless of how Larry said it. What's my point? If your argument is that people who are criticizing you don't know anything about cricket, don't go on the pitch. Because I'm not a politician, but I'm going to hold them accountable. I'm not an educator, but I'm going to question the state of education. That is the weakest excuse for poor behavior and poor performance. So let me get that out of the way. Now, I think very differently. I've had time to think about this. I'm not that upset with St. George's performance. Initially, I was like, oh, this is horrible. These guys are bad or, this or that. But I've spoken to a couple of cricketers and I've given some thought, but it was Tamara Richardson's post that made the most sense. You see, I said a couple times, if it's not life or death, I'm not taking it that serious. I don't know why people shout, yell, and cry over criticism of a cup match. If they play it bad, they play it bad. If St. George's has a history of losing, they have a history of losing. Stop defending bad behavior. That's why our community is in the space that it's in, because we don't like criticism even when it's warranted. I'm sick of it. I don't care who you are. I don't care if that's your brother, you're not. It's bad, it's bad. Call a spade a spade. But actually, I don't think St. George's are that far off. And I'll tell you why. The talent gap isn't that great. It's not. I do believe St. George's have a couple of batsmen who could have went out there and done the same exact thing as Kamau. I do. But the difference, to me, between Kamau, Somerset, and St. George's is actually in the head. It's mentality. And as Tamara Richardson said on her post, at this point, it's time to go with sports psychology. And I can pick on some players. They dropped Terran Free very early, right? Look how St. George's responded. Their heads dropped, it seemed. It seemed that way watching. When Derek Brangman dropped somebody and didn't drop him, but it went over, he had an opportunity and it went over his head off of Dion's bowling, Somerset didn't drop their heads. They kept going. Derek and Dion didn't, it wasn't no anger, they kept going. That's mentality. If St. George, look, it's like black folks. People say black folks don't like going to therapy. We don't like, we're not, we don't like that because it makes us seem like something's wrong with us. St. George's need therapy. The team. It's psychological at this point.
Yes.
Let me explain why, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's say why. Delray was averaging over 50 for cup match. Delray, in my opinion, I think he needs to fall in love with cricket all over again. That's my opinion based on what I saw. Anais Bascom was batting. Hit his pants and Somerset called, how's that called for an out? The person sitting next to me, I'm not going to say the name, said, he's going to get out this next ball because he's going to want to take it out of the umpire's hands and go for it. So said, so done. Jonte, spectacular batting in the second inning. Somerset put everybody on the boundary. He's got to take the single. Thank you. He's got to take the singles, right? Again, psychology. Somebody said, to his uncle and me. It's getting out now. So said, so done. There are so many so said, so dones. So again, folks, this is not a criticism. This is me being honest. And if we as people can't be honest, our community is going to be a reflection of the reality that we continue to ignore. This is a sad situation simply because this is Bermuda's premier sporting event on the back of emancipation, that people will defend their behavior to the hilt. I'm sick of it. Because to me, the criticism, again, I believe St. George's are just as talented. Every last player out there, player for player, in my opinion, can match them. And I think St. George's is on the right path by bringing in the youngsters.
I disagree with you.
Of course you do, because you know more than me.
So, first of all, at the end of the day, you're going to take criticism, especially in amateur sport. And I will also throw on top of that is many people who are against criticism are sports fans for pro teams, and they criticize those teams.
Correct.
So at the end of the day, you'll get it, right? But what's most disappointing, you said a lot, right? And what's most disappointing is it's no matter who joins the team in St. George's, we have the same results. I heard people calling for OJ Pitcher. I heard people calling for Makai McGowan. And I think it was one other person they thought that should have probably been in the team. But they have been a part of teams that have lost heavily. We made 7 changes this year. The result was the same. And going into it, I was saying, hey, man, these guys are, certain players, they were, scoring runs in the league, wickets here and there. But again, Bermuda doesn't play open cricket as much, so we don't know how it's going to work out. And then also what we have not considered is the pressure. Pressure bursts pipes. And even in amateur sport, it's a level of pressure. I could use myself for example. It was a difference running a Labor Day race that were on May 24th, and the whole island's talking about you and everything. And everyone will have an opinion. Some opinions will be ignorant, where you're saying, what? That doesn't even matter. But you as the player, I didn't even take that on because I focused on I did not even perform. And that's what bothers me the most. It's okay with so many players, fans, officials that this is happening. Like, it was times where I didn't even want to show my face after a bad performance because I knew. But, you have to go in the community and you move on. But, it's very difficult.
You said league cricket earlier. It's a different game. And I wrote that on my notes here because it is a different level of pressure, right? But I still believe St. George's on the right track because they brought in young players who got this. They haven't experienced a loss like that probably ever in their life.
But they brought young players in before, dropped them the next year, brought them back, and all of this flip-flop and stuff. I think they, to answer the greater question is we need a change in culture and mentality.
Well, okay.
And that is something that I look at Somerset and I said, that's the edge that they have.
Let's go to the audience real fast because we got to bring Kamau in. And I want to hold that thought, culture, because leadership was big on it. I want to talk about that. Tanya Cheeseman says, Somerset did what they had to do. Congratulations. St. George's has a future if they invest in the culture properly. There's still some cleaning up that needs to happen to improve. Seva Painter says, it's crazy to me how much extra criticism St. George's gets as opposed to Somerset. I don't recall Somerset being so backlash while they were in the same position.
They weren't.
Okay. If we want to be honest, when St. George's had the cup in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, I don't remember the dominance. It was a lot of draws, right? It was a lot of draws. And Clay, Wendell, Glenn Blakeney, Dean Miners,
tons of players. Charlie Marshall, Stevie Wade, Arnold Manders.
Stevie Wade, like, these players won, but Somerset was never really embarrassed. And let's be honest. Another difference is this is social media. This is the social media age. So it comes with the territory. Janet Maynard says, I was not happy with their laws. We need a leader, and St. George does not have one. But also, I want to go back to this. Who cares if Somerset didn't get the same criticism? We're talking about St. George's in current day. I'm a North Village boy. If you're criticizing me, we coming back out and we're going to show you better who we are. I'm not worrying about people criticizing me more than PHC Zebras because we're winners. It's what we do.
And furthermore, let Somerset lose the cup. What do you think the fans are going to do?
Yeah.
Criticize. It comes with sports.
That's sports. Sean DeShields, if you can't handle criticism, don't follow sport. If you can't handle criticism, don't play sport. If you can't handle criticism, don't get up and go and work for someone else. Sean DeShields says, very poor performance, lacking confidence and commitment. Changes must start with the selection process to eliminate friends and family picks. I knew that was going to come up. I don't have any evidence of, first of all, I don't know who's on the selection process. I don't know how they choose. I don't want to get into that based on feelings. But I think it's up to St. George's to dispel that. I think, and hopefully when Kamau comes on, we can speak about the mental part as well, because I think I want people to understand the mental is a very important part of this. And Larry mentioned it as well. Charles H. Jefferson II says, the difference to me was leadership. Leadership is the most important during difficult times. I didn't see the captain or vice captain bringing the players together in that first inning. I did. I did see that, Charles. They did it, but leadership's not just about bringing people together. It's about people respecting you enough to follow your lead. That's it right there. I think this is right here. There is, Selena Simon says it, the value in cohesion and unity. I think you see that in Somerset, the way they get together. People respect Terran Frey because of what he's accomplished in cricket, in cup match in particular. So I'm not saying the players don't respect Anias. Let me be very clear, right? But I had said when Anias went out to bat in the first inning, I said St. George's needs a captain performance from him. And Scottos turns to me and says, what does a captain's performance mean to you? And I said, he just needs to stay to the wicket. And he put his fist out, touch me. He didn't stay to the wicket. That's leadership. If you go out there, Marcus Scotland looked the most, based on his first inning performance, like the leader in that team, staying to that wicket. Angeline Butler says, some people are just not game day people, and it has many parts to it. Cup matches a whole different beast. Yeah, you're going from probably like a couple hundred people on weekends to 8,000, right? We're gonna bring Kamau in, and so we're gonna do the news break real quickly. But keep your comments coming. Anything else you want to add before a good news break there?
No, I think we can get a new news break.
All right. Let's do the news break. All right, this is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. And usually when we do this, we would speak of 2 cabinet ministers resigning or a power outage in the eastern end of the island, and maybe a minibus driver giving chase and getting arrested.
I shouldn't laugh. I really shouldn't laugh.
But today I want to be very different. I want to take it in a different direction, if you allow, and address the community on something very different. Yesterday, I ended up being somewhere that I should not have been. Grieving family was somewhere that they shouldn't have been. Mm-hmm. And yet another black male was somewhere that he shouldn't have been. In a church, in a casket, with one last goodbye. I don't like to attend funerals. It was hard enough attending my mom's funeral. But something about my connection with the mother had me attend to offer the family some form of comfort. And, I think about her when, she was pregnant with Razai. And, I would take her to some appointments when we were neighbors in Rhode Island. And from the beginning, you just knew that she would be an awesome mother to an even more awesome son. I never knew him after they left Rhode Island. Like, never saw him. Obviously, me living in the US. However, due to people like MP Chris Famous, I was able to follow his journey a bit throughout the community.
Yeah.
While some may say whenever someone passes, we always find good things to say about their character and the kind of person that they were, this was a bit different. There was just too much proof to show that this young man was going to be an extremely valuable asset to our community. And then he wasn't. Because someone among us decided to do what so many others have done over the last decade plus, and that's to take another Black male's life. It hurts, man. It hurts because we just had our biggest holiday that was born out of emancipation. Yet it all seems forgotten. Just like how we move on after death, every death of gun victim, every gun victim. We party, we drink. Some are even going to work today without a care in the world. But yet a family is still mourning. We cannot continue to grieve in this manner. We cannot continue to ignore our reality, because regardless of whether you've been impacted directly by this violence in our community, unless we get a hold of it, you just might be next. We are not a community that needs more hope. We are a community that needs action. So here's my message to every Black male in Bermuda, regardless of your status, job, career, family, friends. Your family loves you. And if you don't feel that, your community loves you. And if you don't feel that, I love you. I'm tired, man. We should all be tired. Sick and tired of losing you. So reach out to somebody and let them know what's going on. Talk to somebody about it. Open your heart. Allow people in, because we can't afford to keep losing you.
Mm-hmm.
Your families, your community, we need you. Whatever has you so angry, confused, disoriented, or upset, let's discuss it and find solutions. We'll be right back with a Black male who's a person many should be looking up to, who's doing his part in the community, whose parents, I would say, would be proud of him. We need more of this. I am tired, and you should be too. Don't wait till the problem comes knocking on your door. We'll be back after this.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
It took 14 days to build your business plan. 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job. 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community, we salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
Summer is almost here. Dive into the season with dog floats and dog pools. Enjoy 20% off West Paul's dog floating toys and shop our life jackets for safety in the water this summer. Get all your summer needs before the holidays and events begin. Don't forget to stock up on poo bags and check out Dicky Bags, the poo bag holder that locks in the smell until you can dispose of it. Remember, even dogs need sunblock, so visit Noah's Ark today, Bermuda's most trusted animal supply store for all your summer essentials, and ask us about our rewards program.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Larry Marshall Jr. I am Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Wells, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We've got Kamau Leverock. Man, I guess I have to be a unbiased, traditional, good sport right now, and give him a warm TDH welcome as we bring him into the studio. He deserves some air horns too, folks.
I had tons of air horns over the last 3 hours.
Tired of hearing air horns, right? You're tired of hearing air horns, man.
I didn't even hear him. I can't lie.
He was locked in. He was locked in. Hey, good morning, man. Welcome to the show. Thank you for doing this.
No problem. Anytime.
So I just want to jump into it, man. Obviously, cup match selection night, we learned who the teams were, and Chris Douglas, who was traditionally the opening batsman with Taryn Frey, was no longer. The question was, well, who's going to open with Taryn Frey? At what point did you find out that you would be opening the bat with Taryn Frey?
I actually had a conversation with Jeff on the Monday. And he just asked me, actually, it was at the Cold Cup match on the Sunday. He just asked me, what are my thoughts on opening? I know there's 2 other guys that have been opening all season in the team, and Malachi Jones and Jamal Proctor. So, I never really thought that I could, actually do it this time around. I'd had chats years before, about doing it. I've asked about it. I had a joke with Jeff to say that it was my emancipation day as well, finally giving me a chance to go up the order after been asking for about 4 or 5 years now, because I hadn't been batting much. Somerset's only been batting once every year since the last couple, I think 10 years or so. So, not many of us have had a chance to really get multiple hits in cup match. So I just wanted to get my chance. So once they confirmed it on the Wednesday night, I just locked in.
Indeed.
So you've had a couple of great innings in your career. But how are you feeling about that particular performance?
I'm actually quite happy. A lot of people were asking me why I didn't try and attempt to go for the record. I did. Just a little bit of fatigue set in, bit of tiredness, bit of cramp. But I think people don't actually recognize how hard it is to actually score that many runs and focus for that long period of time. So I think, the fact that my mom recognized how focused I had been, and she said it was the only time she's watched and not been nervous. So I'm glad I could help with that, her nerves. But yeah, I think this innings is quite high on the list of the best innings I've had.
Excellent. You're scoring at such a quick rate. Was that part of the strategy, or was that just how it came on the day?
Naturally, I score fast. I have a I have an ability to you know create good balls into bare balls or boundary options, and I have ability to steal score off of bowlers' best balls. So it's kind of a natural thing, and Somerset knew that I naturally score fast. I think most of my hundreds have been, or if not all my hundreds have been over 120 strike rate. So yeah, I think it's more of a natural ability to score fast, and I think that's what Somerset try to exploit.
Mm.
It's interesting because you bring up that point, and there's other, centuries or things that your great performances you talk about have been mostly with the shorter format. You've now done this at the other format. We was just talking earlier about the transition. How was the transition from you going to open cricket?
There's not much of a transition. I think what happens with most Bermudian players, they think that they have to change the game completely. You don't have to change your game completely. You just have to be a bit more selective in what you do go after, because you do have the time aspect on your side. It's not a rush anymore. So because it's not a rush anymore, you could be more picky. You could get yourself into your innings a bit more and just really, really take your time. I think the confusion is with Bermudian players that because they play so much 50 overs and T20 cricket, they think that when they get to a long formatted game, they have to completely switch up the game and bet time, as they say. But you don't necessarily have to bet time. The only way to bet time is to be yourself.
Good. We're hearing it from someone who actually did it and not just our opinion, right?
Right.
Many said that you was in the zone, and we often talk about the zone in sports. I can remember sometimes I felt I was in the zone. But would you say you was in a zone last Thursday morning?
Yeah, I had actually been quite in that zone for about a week. I got a century like the week before the trial, and from there I told my mom if I got an opportunity in cup match just to bat for a long period of time, I was gonna try and break the record, and try to get the Bermuda's first double century in cup match. That's been a aspiration of mine for a few years, probably since I started playing. I noticed that it hadn't been a double century, and I always wanted to be the first one. So that mental focus right there, and me, I wrote down my goals for cup match this year actually. So I had that physical manifestation, and I actually played with it in my tights pocket. So if I needed to, I just would go and look at it to say what my goal was here, and that just kept me in the zone. I would say what didn't help in the end was me focusing for 4 hours straight. Even during lunchtime, I never shut off. I needed to take that time at lunchtime to shut off to get myself back into it. But otherwise than that, I was in the zone. I didn't see any fans. I just saw bowl and ball.
I have a follow up to that because, earlier today I mentioned mentality and sports psychology, as someone had mentioned on Facebook. You speak about the zone. How important is the mental aspect of that? You say you didn't shut off or the like, but speak to that as it relates to, because quite a few people believe that mentality is the biggest difference between both teams.
Yeah, the zone is not something you actually can put yourself into. You can try, but sometimes as an athlete, you just have one of those days where everything just clicks. And I think that was one of those days. You can try and emulate it, but again, it's as a high level athlete, it definitely just happens because as an athlete, you have more bad days than you do good, which what makes the good days even better. So mentally, you can manifest as much as you want, but sometimes when it's your day, it's just your day.
Indeed.
I completely agree with you. Well said. Once you scored your century, fans, family, everyone ran on the field. I look back and I saw you and your mom embrace, and I remember her being present through as long as I've known you, from many cup match days and whatnot. But how was that feeling when you was able to embrace the people that support you the most?
Um, as you know, my mom is my biggest supporter, but
Yes.
she's also my biggest critic. You know, her and my father are very, 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 very hard on me when it comes to performance and separating myself. My dad always says to separate yourself from everyone else on your team and the opponents. So I think to finally give that moment to my mom, you know, on the big stage in Bermuda was very special. You know, I could see the happiness in her face, a little bit of a return on our investments over the years. So, you know, it was very, very happy feeling to put that smile on her face.
Indeed. And audience, if you have any questions for Kamau, please send them through. We'll get through as many questions as possible and comments. You know, keep in mind there are some Georgia's fans tuned into the show.
But this year we had another convincing Somerset victory. We talked earlier, you know, 7 heavy defeats in 12 years. What would you say is the reason for Somerset's dominance? Without giving up no secrets. I know you're not going to give me the kumbaya potion that you guys have right now.
There actually isn't a potion for us or anything special. It's just basically down to man management. You know, Jeff is a man manager. You got to remember that cup match is a collection of 11 players. You know, so you don't have to physically coach those guys. You just have to put them in a position to succeed. So you man manage. You know, if you think about it, Jeff's had some very challenging characters in his years as the coach. You know, Chris Douglas being one of them, not to call names, but you know, everyone knows that he's a challenging character to have in a team. So how do you create an environment for him to succeed? And that's what Jeff is really good at. He has a knack for putting people in a position to succeed and be themselves while they're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed.
All right, nice. So, what can Bermuda expect from Kamau Leverock going forward?
You know, a bit of the same things I've been doing all these years of trying to get some T20, some T10 contracts going. You know, I've been talking to my agent. He's put me in quite a few drafts now. So hopefully I could get into one of those and make something happen, get Bermuda back on the map.
Indeed. We've got quite a few coming from the audience, so I want to go there. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, congratulations, Kamau. In my opinion, you were the man of the match as you took the heart from St. George's with that first inning performance, which allowed the wickets to fall when St. George's bat. You did, right? When you were out there batting, obviously you had a couple different partners. What were you saying to them as they were coming out to bat with you?
Didn't really say much. Like again, I just alluded to the fact of man management. You know, players can man manage too. Everybody that came to the pitch, I just said, you know, you're here for a reason. You've been selected to cup match for a reason. You're part of the top 22 players in the island for a reason. So just make sure you showcase that ability. You know, be alongside with me. You know, we're not in competition. We're here to help each other out. So I just tried to give them that encouragement as they came to the pitch.
It's interesting you say you're not in competition. You're there to help one another because, again, one person who formerly played for Somerset said, you know, one team's playing like a team and the other a good set of individuals, right? So that's interesting you say that. Renee Simmons says, congratulations, Kamau. You deserve all the accolades for the accomplishments of our winning team. Selena Simon says, great example, setting goals for the match. Let's speak about this again. You mentioned how you set goals. Was this something that you've always done, or is it something that you said, look, I have, you know, take my game to a next level. It's time to set goals. Like what went into that, your goal setting, and what would you say, did you achieve everything? You said 200, so obviously you didn't get the double century, but how do you respond to not achieving that? And again, I want to put that on St. George's folks, like they haven't won the cup. They've been dominated. And as Larry said earlier, it's not about the loss. It's how you respond to it. Sir Alex Ferguson used to always say, couple things you've said. man management, right? His job is to put his players in the best position to be successful. But also, when they lost 6-1 to Man City, when they had just been, gotten their swag and whatnot, he said, it's not about the loss. It's how we lost, but it's even bigger how we respond. So speak to the setting goals, and over the years and how it came about and what it means, to go in there with a goal mindset.
Yeah, I actually used to write my goals down for every match, what I wanted to do. I think a couple of years ago, and I think I went away from that in the last maybe 3 or 4 years post COVID, and I just recently started going back to doing it, writing my goals down for every game. In the tournament last year for the World Cup qualifiers, which obviously it worked for me at the time. So I've made sure I keep doing it. When you set these goals, it just gives you an idea of what you want to do. But then as you think about it and manifest it, you start thinking about how and visualizing. So the visualizing aspect of it, when that comes about, it gives you that look into what could be your future, and it makes sure that you build that hunger to want it even more. So it's not enough just writing them down and looking at them. It's more about visualizing what you want to do and how you want to get to it. And I think that's the most important part about writing down your goals.
Indeed. What they're your competitors on the day in terms of Delray Rollins and Jonte Smith, but you grew up with these guys. These are your friends, right? What do you say to your friends after such a dominating loss? Like, I mean, to some, an embarrassing loss, right? What do you say to them? Is it joking and bragging? Is it like, look, man, are we talking about shots? Because let's be honest, Jonte had a spectacular second inning. Look, I said to his uncle, to Gumbo, get the hat ready. Let's get some money. He so said, so done. We were ready. And then, as said earlier, you guys put everyone on the boundary. He went for it, missed, stumped out when he should have just took the single. But what's the conversations amongst friends afterwards when the result is what it is?
Yeah, we actually don't get to see much of each other directly after the game. Those guys we kind of celebrating. Those guys are kind of just around trying to process what's going on. But with Jonte, I kind of we had a little banter with him out there while he was going. I think he was hitting the ball the cleanest out of the 2 days out of anyone at that point. And what happened with Jonte wasn't more or less of getting the singles, because when you're going like that as a batsman, it's very, very hard to rein it back in, especially in the position that you're in. Jonte is a competitor and is always going to be a competitor. So in any position that his team's in, he's going to think he could win it, if it's by himself or with a partner. And I think what failed him was that as he was going like he was going, everyone around him were trying to go with him rather than someone just sticking with him and just, again, getting the single. If they get the single, he can go for the rest of the over. But if I try to go with Jonte and I get out, that one on the board or that extra wicket on the board just puts Jonte in that worse of a predicament, where I can't stop now. I have to keep going as fast as I can because I'm going to run out of partners.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Outside of yourself, Jonte was putting on a show, man. I mean, anyone who was up at that field watching that, I was excited for him because 2 years ago up Somerset, he disagreed a bit, but I felt he was given out unfairly. You all may disagree. My angle might have been different, and my angle might have been biased. I'm just saying, but I was happy to see him, and I think that second inning performance showed that he has much more to offer cup match going forward. So looking forward to you guys over the years going at it. And I was gonna ask you, did you guys go at it out on the field like your friends say? Was there banter and so on? Speak about the banter that you guys have, because I enjoy it. I like that stuff. Larry, I don't know if Larry likes it as much as me, right? But I love it.
I think it's all about the banter.
Yeah,
right?
I love it. Speak to us about what you guys say to each other.
Well, like I was explaining to someone yesterday, you would think we wasn't friends, from the outside looking in. You can't obviously hear what's said. You can only see mannerisms and stuff, and obviously our mannerisms are quite serious. Like someone came to me and asked me, why did Chinky point the bat in your chest and stuff like that. But we have that banter where it looks serious, but we all know it's not. Just how St. George's obviously come to us, they don't know it, but the way they speak to us and how they think that they could say every year is their year and we're coming for you, and just yapping at the mouth, it puts Somerset in a zone, because we feel like, although we're not resting on our laurels, we feel like we should have a little bit of more respect from our opponents, and from how they speak, they don't respect us at all. So because of that, that's why we come out and play the way we play and play as hard as we play, because they just give us that extra bit of fuel that we need to get up for the game.
Note to self: the game's played on the day on the field. Shut your big fat mouth up, Jamal. Okay. In saying that, I mean, how important was the toss? Somerset winning the toss and going into bet. We haven't talked about that enough, but obviously that set the tone for the entire 2 days.
Yeah, last year St. George's won the toss and put us into bet, and they slowly grew to regret that. So we knew that this year, if we won the toss, psychologically, us going to bet will put them in the frame of mind of remembering last year how they felt out all day, where we took the game away from them in the first day. So, which is why you alluded to earlier how their heads dropped when they dropped Terran, and they dropped them twice.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a difference between how we react to drop catches and they react to drop catches. They have a lot more, I would say, PTSD around how it is fielding all day than us. Us fielding all day, we're going for victory. Them fielding all day, it's like the game is slowly drifting away from them. So I think that toss was very, very important from a psychological standpoint.
Indeed.
Just to put them in a mindset where here we go again.
Indeed, it definitely worked. Tamara Richardson says Kamau had the mindset of greatness, and it showed. Well done, despite the toll it took on my team. Yeah, I'm gonna have PTSD due to Kamau as well. So, Janet Maynard says Kamau has had an interest in cricket from a very young age, like 4 years old. It was 2, as soon as he could walk. Auntie, come on, cricket bat in hand. Very happy for him. It's hard not to be happy for you. Nikki Smith says very proud of you, Kamau, as you know. It is great to see it all come together for you and to be seen as a true opening batsman. Kite Ming says, yes, setting goals keeps you focused. Mr. President Richard Scott says, congrats again, Mr. Bongi. Well done, visualization and activation. And well, the president saying, yeah, Engel was biased. Yeah, I'm very honest about my bias. I can't help that. But come on, what would you say? I mean, there's a lot of people who want to play card match, but like you said, it's 22 of the best players in Bermuda at the time. Some people, Larry alluded to it earlier, they make it as cults and you never see them again. What's the mentality? You've said a couple years out as well, right? But what's the mentality to make sure that not only do you play card match, but you perform when you get the opportunity, to ensure that not only the team wins, but you get the opportunity to do it again, because it is a privilege to play card match in Bermuda.
Yeah, obviously it's a great privilege to play. When you get your chance, obviously you understand that it's all in your hands. Everything is in your hands. You have to make sure you perform. But again, like I alluded to before, the environment also is a big thing. I think the environment in Somerset is conducive to helping people perform in the first year. And I think if you look at it, anyone that comes into Somerset's team are never dropped immediately. They are given a chance to get into the game at a high level. So if you fail your first year, you definitely might come back the next year and the year after that. Even the environment in St. George's at this moment is, if I get this chance, will I ever get it again? And I think that creates a tense environment. And for personally for players, if it's like that, you'll find yourself in a position where it's very, very hard to perform at a high level because you're thinking that this could be your last chance. And if you're thinking that it could be your last chance, then maybe it might be your last chance. So I think that sort of environment in the East is why it's the start of why they've been struggling for a bit. Hopefully they could probably change it. But that's as a new cricketer coming into cup match, that mentality or that cloud looming over your head that it could be your last, it can be very stringent.
You saying that, I think the last player, and tell me if I'm wrong, that had a one and done with Somerset might have been Sammy Robinson, and he actually had a very good opening inning way back then when he did play cup match. But come to think of it, that does add pressure. Like, if I don't perform this time, I'll never be there again. Yeah.
Let me piggyback on that because it's very interesting, because we often talk about in the sporting community where we want to be the most relaxed, and if you're the most relaxed, you're able to perform at a higher level. And you're saying that, and I'm saying this is it was profound, because you cannot create tense situations and expect performances. And I think the biggest problem I have with St. George's right now is the backing out. I can name several players. One, then they come back 2 years later, then they're out again. Except for maybe a nucleus of St. George's Cricket Club players, league players. But I think you were very much onto something, and it's interesting, and we'll actually see how it goes going forward.
But you just made so a former St. George's Cup match player, when I say former, very recent, had said over the weekend that one of St. George's issues is that they rotate players every year, but keep the same 5 St. George's players. Like, they keep traditionally 5 St. George's players and rotate like other players coming in. But also, I said to someone, I said, when you see somebody winning the way they do, and I'm going to use Bermuda tourism as an example, right? Bermuda was the it destination. I mean, everyone came to Bermuda back in the day before people even knew what tourism was, kind of. And then what happened? Other destinations started saying, well, let's see what they're doing, right? And they copied what Bermuda was doing, and now they're dominating, right? That's how it works. St. George's probably should look, how Somerset do this? Build on it, copy your competitors, but just do it better, right? So obviously we're here to talk about your performance, but what would you say? I mean, you guys are friends. Like, this is a community thing. What would you say they probably need to copy that Somerset does right, of one thing that you can say, you know what, from the outside, I'm at Somerset, I would encourage them to probably do this first to kind of start heading in the right direction?
Somerset believe that experience is your greatest teacher. That's a fact of life. Experience is your greatest teacher. So the only way to be in a current state of learning is to experience. Every cup match is different. So if I only play one cup match and I miss out on the second cup match, I only know how cup match is played that way. So, we only play one open cricket game a year. Well, one multi-day open cricket game a year. So if I don't play it multiple times over the next couple of years, how will I know how the game is played in its entirety? You know, a lot of people aren't really students of the game anymore, where they're watching Test cricket because there's not much Test cricket on. You know, they're watching the 100, they're watching T20, they're watching T10. The game is getting shorter and shorter, and it's exciting to watch that stuff. When you're not a cricket purist, and when you're not a student of the game, you miss the key factors in the long format, and it creates a situation where if you do play cup match, you're only learning as you're playing. You're not learning from watching other long format games either. So if I'm only playing once again, maybe a couple years later, and then again after 2 years later after that, that doesn't help me in any way for my game playing it at all. So I think what St. George's need to do is, you know, okay, you had a hard year or first year, because the stats down there are not bad when it comes to the league team. I think 5 of their top order are in the top 10 runs in Bermuda in 50 over cricket. So form is not their problem. I don't think form has ever been their problem. You know, Nia scored 3 or 4 90s in the last 5 weeks. So, you know, form is definitely not the problem. It's the opportunity to learn in the long format and the environment that's been created there. That has been the downfall. So I would say to fix those 2 things, you know, give people the opportunity to learn. You know, they took Luke Fulton this year. He bowled tidy in my opinion, but they didn't use him that much. So I've seen players go down there, not be used that much, and then never seen again. So hopefully that's not his future. He could learn by playing the game a bit more.
Indeed. And before you head out, Kamau, I gotta ask you, will we be seeing you in the Eastern Counties for flats?
Yeah, I'll be here. Whether I'll be selected for flats, you know, who knows? But I'll be available to play for flats this year in the Eastern Counties.
All right. Well, look, I'm a big boy, so I don't want you hurting, giving me TD twice, right? Just go easy, bro. But no, honestly, I say this with a lot of respect. Congratulations. You can see the commitment from yourself from a very early age. You know, you said something about your mother earlier and your father, the support that they've given, what they've spoken to you about. And as I said before you came on, you have, I'm not saying that you live your life to be one, but you are a role model. You are someone who I think that young people could look to. My hope is that your agent finds you the right situation for yourself. You deserve to be on the world stage. You deserve to be playing this game at the highest level. And I look forward to supporting you when you're back to where you want to be, need to be, and representing yourself and your country at the highest level of cricket. So congratulations to you, good brother. And just tell your mom, go easy on me. Cool? Kamau, thanks so much. Have a good one.
All right, Kamau, appreciate it.
All right, Kamau Leverock, folks. If you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Good conversation with good brother. We're going to take our final break. We'll come back, wrap it up. We've got some trivia for you, and it has to do with Kamau Leverock. So I want to see who gets this question right. Stick with us.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Pair with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear. You can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Kamau Leverock. I really, really enjoyed that conversation, and thank you, audience, for being as engaged. And make sure you share that conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. You know what? Share it with fellow cricketers, young people. You know, we'll talk about it in a few, but just share it with people, young people who want to make it, whether they're footballers, cricketers, even if they're academics. Just the attitude that he possesses can help people go a long way. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations on a regular basis. It's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. You can watch Bermuda Trivia on bcgtv.com. You can also purchase the game. Folks, I meant to say this to Kamau. Dwayne Leverock is his uncle. So you all that keep, getting that question wrong, stop it. He says on his Twitter, well, some of you don't have Twitter, Dwayne's nephew, but that's the funniest thing. But hopefully his performance elevated him into your mind so you learn a bit more about your players. But you can follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Here is your question, audience. First person to get it right, we're going to put you in the draw on Friday. All right. What year did Kamau Leverock make his cup match debut? I can't hear you, Larry.
2014 or 2015? 2016.
You can't keep guessing. The audience doesn't know.
I'm dating myself. I thought he would have been.
No one answered correctly. That's shocking.
2013?
No. I want to see. Hold on. No, it's not. It definitely wasn't 2017. No, it's not 2016. No one got this. No, it's not 2016. Wow. I'll tell you why I remember. I think that was the last time St. George won the cup, if I'm not mistaken.
2011?
Yeah. Karen Simmons, we'll give it to you. Part
of that team. I didn't know he was part of that team.
The president of Somerset didn't know. Oh, yeah, Richard, I'm going to give it to you, bro. Huh.
Well, you've been around for so long, but I
wasn't he 16 or 15? 16?
I knew he was young.
He was very young.
Okay.
He was very young. I remember he was very young, but yeah, it was 2011.
Was he in the 2012 team?
Was he in the 2012 team? Yeah, he was 16. He was 16 when he debuted. Yeah, 16.
We got new all, man, boy.
Yeah, we are. Well, I mean, Larry, we ain't got a broadcast. Somebody said Suzanne said 2024. No, he didn't debut. So what's interesting about him debuting in 2011 though is that he experienced the loss.
Yeah.
And look at him since in that team, right? And he's had a couple years he didn't make. I remember the injury from the bike accident and whatnot. But 2011. So Karen Simmons will put you in the draw for this week's prize. Karen Simmons said that she never used to win anything until the Daily Hour. So we're happy to see her win. But let's wrap up today's conversation, our discussion this morning, and then the conversation with Kamau. Larry, final thoughts.
Yeah, a lot's been said, and it should be. It's cup match. It's as you said, it's emancipation wrapped within a cricket game, right? And I would just like to see a better performance and more grit and preparedness. I think culture and mentality just keep coming to my mind when I look at the performance. And at the end of the day, I think we have to creep before we can crawl. I won May 24th of 2007. I thought I was the best in 2002. It took me time to get there. But it's certain things that have to happen. You know what I mean? You don't just wake up and now we won cup match, but we need to close the gap.
Yeah.
Kamau Leverock, excellent performance. He has been a trailblazer, a great cricketing character for Bermuda cricket for quite some time. Happy that he was able to have that moment with his family, and I don't want him to do too many more great performances. But at the end of the day, we want to see top performances, whether it's from Somerset or St. George's. And at the end of the day, congrats to him going forward.
Indeed, I echo everything that you said. I think the character, the person that he is, deserve the performance that we got to witness. I think that I hope that young people listen to what he said today, because it's not just about going out there and swinging a bat or bowling a ball. There's much more to it to be successful. I often speak of IQ. I don't know his IQ, but he seems to have a very high one, right? And sometimes, we've had Dame Flora Duffy come on this show. We've had Connor Smith, and we've got Larry, who's the host on the show. And you guys consistently say, even Couture Horton Pantry, you consistently say one thing, and I can go back and find it. All of you have said this one thing. There are a lot of talented people, but what separates them? What separates them? Bermudians have a lot of talented footballers, cricketers, but when they get into certain environments, they may not be able to perform. So what are you going to do along with your talent to separate you from the rest? And I think that's the mentality I see in many Somerset players, especially a player like Kamau. I say this respectfully. He hasn't said it, but I say this respectfully. You can tell who has an amateur mindset, and you can tell who has a professional mindset. You can tell who's had spent time in their sport beyond Bermuda. You can tell who hasn't spent time in the sport beyond Bermuda. Mentality is key. And I'll end it by saying, as President Richard Scott says here, discipline and determination. Larry, you've got some daily inspiration to send the folks off for today?
I do. This is from former U.S. Olympic sprinter. The Olympics is going on. I'm enjoying it very much, Hartman. From Sonia Richards-Ross. Failure I can live with. Not trying is what I can't handle.
Yeah.
I thought that was fitting for today. I can handle. You are going to lose in sports, folks. You probably will lose more times than you win. Not everyone is a Usain Bolt, Michael Jordan, all of this, and they even learned from their losses. How you lose and how you bounce back.
I think I'll say this much since you mentioned Michael Jordan. He missed more shots than he made. It's that simple. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.